Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lilkatz. Welcome to Communications from Home, which is my weekly live stream. And it's a gorgeous night here in Toma, Wisconsin. I'm doing two things at one time, and I should know better. I should know better. Trying to get the stuff up on the screen for y'all. Well, today is Tuesday, April 13th, and can you believe it? We're already in the middle of April. Time just flies by so fast, doesn't it? But tonight, I am so happy to be with you tonight because I have one of my favorite topics, which is about, divination cards, right? And using them as a tool. Yes, using them as a tool, but kind of with a little bit of a twist. Um, as you know, I'm on a recalibration journey, and all of that started after my mom passed away in November. When she walked on November 30th, December 1st, I began the grieving process and the mourning process, and I knew that I had to be in the quiet and the stillness for a really long time, right? And with that, my spiritual team was telling me that that I had to recalibrate. And so I wanted to share this journey with all of you and the things that have helped me along the way to help me with this recalibration. And I have to tell you that it's going really well. I'm doing well. And I have lots of things to share with you tonight. So we're going to get going. So we're going to be talking about divination cards tonight. And I'm going to be sharing a couple of things, some personal experiences in the recent months that, they call it synchronicity. I call it a blessing because I had some card readings done that were so spot on. And the readers really didn't know what the heck was going on in my life. And so I can't wait to start sharing that with you. I'm going to say hi to a few people here, though, before we start rolling. And look who's in the house, but Julie Shumway Hill. Julie, hello, Julie. She's a good lady to have in the house and to be helping. She was helping me with the Academy. And I got a couple things with the Academy I'm going to share with you later in the show. So you got to stick with me if you want to know about some classes, okay? So Rochelle is here. Hello, Rochelle. I'm glad you're grounded. Me too. And Rochelle said, and shared too. Oh, thank you so much, Rochelle. You are so kind. And such a great reminder, really, because half the time I forget to ask if you enjoy the information, enjoy the topics, if you could hit the like button. And if you have somebody that you'd like to send the video over to, that would even be better because hopefully we'll be helpful to a lot of other people too, right? So thank you for that, Rochelle. Rob's here too. Greetings from Facebook. Okay, usually he's coming to us from YouTube land. Oh, see, and he's coming from YouTube too. Thank you so much, Rob, and I appreciate that. Lisa's here too. Good vibes, I know. Feels really good out there, doesn't it? Did you guys feel the shift? It happened a few days ago. And yeah, it just feels, I know spring's here, and that's a good portion of that feeling, right? But there is something that was shifting. There's lots going on in the cosmos, and with that full moon that we had, what is that, 2 weeks ago? That kind of thing. So yeah, it's good stuff. And Rochelle says, your hair looks awesome. Does it? I got a good hair day. Thank you. Doesn't happen all that often. Thanks for that, Rochelle. And look, who else is here? This is one of my good friends, Julie Hedges. She's a good lady. We're going to be talking about something that Julie does really well, really, really well. And so, okay, let's get started. I'm going to do a little storytelling here because I want to give you guys a little bit of a background of why I'm doing all of this, right? I started this series about the recalibration journey, and I am sharing with you all the tools that I've used along the way, things that have been really helpful, and maybe even some things that haven't been so helpful, because I honestly believe that I am not the only one on this recalibration journey. I'm not the only one that is going through the process of reinventing, reimagining, redoing, because coming out of 2020 into 2021, so much had shifted in so many people's lives in 2020, right? Yeah, huge changes globally. And so I know that I'm not the only one going through this. So that's why I'm sharing my journey with you all. And if there's something helpful that that I'm sharing, so much the better. And here at Star Nations community, I always encourage our community members who are in the live chat, or if you're watching this as a recorded video, first of all, thank you. And second of all, still put your comments, your hints, your tips, your hacks, if you will, into the comments if you have something that's been working for you. Because you know what, we're all in this together, right? And so if we can help each other, hopefully we'll have a really graceful passageway through this recalibration. And some people have actually been calling it, this is like a global initiation kind of time. So, all right, so I'm going to tell you a little story here. Let me get comfortable. So back in March, not too long ago, it was early March. Yeah. I was starting to feel much better. The grieving wasn't as raw. The mourning wasn't as emotionally impacting. And I was in grief counseling. And so things were starting to, how do I want to say this? The dust was starting to settle. Okay. And I was starting to get more rest. I've been sleeping 9-10 hours a night. And that's really good, building up that reserve. Um, and then we had a situation here with family. And, as much as we all love our families, sometimes they bring us the best opportunities for learning. And sometimes it happens nice and gracefully, and other times it doesn't, right? Family can get kind of, dramas can get kind of messy, right? And we all experience it at some time. And I do believe that when you take those deep breaths and you kind of go, what was that about? And you're calling in your spiritual team, and you're trying to understand it. And once you're calmer, you can kind of look at it from a wider perspective. And for me, that's what I do. That's what I did. And it's like, okay, so what is it in here for me? What was meant by all of this for me, my side of the street? Okay. And yeah, there was a few days. Where it was not comfortable. It was totally uneasy, right? Because it was a situation I wanted to fix, and there was no fixing. There's no fixing. And so you're also feeling exasperated and frustrated, and it's like, okay, so what am I supposed to do with this? Well, I have a group of friends, women friends, that we've been friends for a very, very, very long time. And we have been doing monthly calls. First, it started out as teleconference. That tells you how long ago we started this. I think it was in 2006 or 7, something like that. And we call ourselves the Sistars. There's 6 of us. And we were having our call, and I was sharing with the group about this situation. And one of my sisters offered to do a card reading for me, to help me to get clarity, to help me see my way through it, right? And also, it was going to be helpful because of the grief in the morning too, right? So we scheduled a video chat date, because she's over in Michigan. And so she did pull some cards for me. And I wanted to share with you the deck that she used because the pictures were the cards are so beautiful, and some of you guys probably even know it. It is the Osho Zen cards, the tarot deck. Osho Zen cards. I had never used them before, and so she pulled a couple cards for me. Okay, now I have to tell you that I am very particular on who does readings for me of any kind, of any kind. And so I always go to somebody that I trust and that I have a good feeling about, right? Trusting my intuition, right? That GPS system. And so my sister is somebody that I just love and I trust her. We have traveled together. We've gone to, I think it was Colorado together. And yeah, we've known each other for quite some time. So she pulls the cards for me. And the cards that came out, one was the card was courage. Courage. It's part of the major arcana in that deck. And I don't have the picture of it. I wish I would have snapped a screenshot of it when she did this. But there's in the picture, there's two flowers. There's one flower stem, okay, with one flower blossoming and a second one coming up and is just a bud. All right. And where this flower is growing is amongst huge rocks. And it's growing in the crevice between two huge boulders, really huge rocks. And so, and she's very intuitive. And so she was starting to get the feeling about the card. And the meaning of the card is about meeting a challenge, growing through the cracks of the rocks and choice. And it talked about the seed. And this is the part that really connected with me. That a seed is in the dark. It germinates in the dark. Doesn't know anything but the shell that's surrounding it, right? And then through heat and a little pressure, the shell, the seed cracks its harder shell so that it can sprout. And when it does that, it's in a vulnerable state. It's in a vulnerable state. And the only thing the sprout really knows about is that it's reaching for the light, reaching for the sunlight. Doesn't know anything else but to do that. And so that was the connection that was huge for me. Huge. And the understanding of the meaning of that particular card was huge. And it was so helpful in the situation with the family and also the situation with me being in a very quiet mode from the end. Well, actually, if you really think about it, I was kind of off from online anything practically since September, and really, really being here, right, and not doing much socialization at all. So it was huge, huge clarity for me when she was doing that card reading. And I have to tell you that when we are going through something that's really emotional and you kind of get rocked by it, right? And mentally too, when you get rocked by something, that's the time that we need to reach out to our friends, the people that love us, the people that we trust, and get support, right? And I was so thankful that my sister reached out and said, you know what? I can do a reading for you. And I said, yes, because this particular reading was very it wasn't just helpful. It was it was a tool that I used that really helped me to understand that being vulnerable has to happen. It has to happen in order for us to grow and reach for the light. And in the situation with the family, I realized that I needed to nurture myself and be my own good auntie, and because I really didn't, I've never really experienced that with my mom's sisters. Um, yeah, that never really happened. I loved them and I knew they loved me, but they didn't really know me. They loved me because I was their sister's daughter, but they didn't really know me. And so that was a huge breakthrough for me. Huge. Because I'll call it an archetype. Okay. The archetype of an auntie in Native America and probably other cultures too, right? Um, is is one that is a loving female who loves you unconditionally, but will tell you when you're not doing well, when you're off track. And some aunties will do it pretty bluntly, and others will help you try to see, you know, where you're veering off into the weeds. Um, and so they're like a mom, but an auntie is somebody that you can tell anything to, anything, and own up to anything, right? And you know that they'll love you no matter what. Okay, so that one card reading was so helpful and insightful. And I know that here at Star Nations, we do use card reading a lot, right? As well as dowsing. But when we're vulnerable like that, when we are vulnerable emotionally and psychologically, sometimes it's hard for us to understand our own intuition, right? When we're dowsing, because I always check if I'm worthy to douse. And there's only been a few occasions when I was not worthy to douse, and those were times when I was in deep grief. All right. So it's good for us to reach out for help, for support during those time frames. And when I was given the topics for the series from my spiritual team, and it got to this particular topic, this was the one thing that was pretty emphatic, is that to reach out for help. We're not meant to do any of this alone. No, we're not. And if you're one of those people who's gotten tapped on the shoulder, and gotten the text or the messenger message or telephone call message, who calls anymore though, really, that, somebody needs to chat about something, is to make time for them, even though we're all really busy, to make time for them. And yeah, and I try, especially these days, I really try to do that. I couldn't really do much last year, but I'm in a position where I can be of more help, especially now because I'm feeling pretty darn good. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you about that first drawing. And I also wanted to share with you that there's a lot of card readers out there, right? There's a lot of them. What I say is discern and trust your guidance. With if they feel good to you, and if they're you get a good feeling from it, and it's uplifting, then great. And if it's not, say thank you very much, but I'm done. I'm going the other direction. And especially online, because I have a link I'm going to share with you guys in a minute There is two other readers that I turn to. Another one who is very that I know really well, and I trust her intuition, and that's Julie Hedges. Julie has done tarot readings for me and also astrology readings and that sort of thing. And Julie has been very helpful to me in other situations. And so, yeah, with tarot and also with astrology. But there's also a card reader that I visit her YouTube channel at least a couple times a month. Once for the monthly reading, that's just a general reading, right? Just a general reading. And then once a week, she does what she calls a weekly card bump. And I try to get to that one. That's not quite as important for me, but I try. And that her name is, no, the title of her YouTube is Jane International Tarot and Astrology, and I've got the link for you. But she has been pretty spot on about a lot of things for me in those general readings. And those general readings, you kind of go, oh, I don't know about those. But this one seems to hit pretty well for me. And so I'm going to get caught up with you guys here. Okay, just hang on. I got to scroll up a little bit. Yeah, and Julie saying loved and shared the show. Thank you so much, Julie. You're a good egg. Hey, Brad's here. Brad Marcus says good evening and galactic greetings right back at you, Brad. I like that. Galactic greetings. Lisa says, I'm revisiting your meditations of the past. I sit in my copper pyramid every morning. Ooh, that is so cool, Lisa. The copper pyramid. Something to experience. And thank you. Thank you for using those past meditations. They're all right here at Star Nation's main fan page if you guys are looking for some guided meditations for grounding. Look who else is here. Tabitha's here too. Hey, lady. And Julie says, very important to trust your intuition about who has access to your energy field. Exactly. Especially, because we're in a vulnerable state, right? And so when we're like that, my suggestion, and it always has been this way, you guys, is that we really need to nurture our relationships. We're meant to have close friends. We're meant to have those people in our lives that can remind us that we have tools. That can say to us, say, hey, okay, I know you're having a hard time. Have you tried your essential oils, blah, blah, blah? Or, have you taken a nap because you look really tired? Those kinds of things. We need to nurture those relationships so that we have somebody in our lives that we can turn to in those times of vulnerability and ask for support. Yeah. All right. And Brad says, trust your intuition. Exactly. Discernment. And here's what we say at Star Nations for discernment. I don't know how many times I said this. I sound like a broken record, but it's true. When we talk about discernment, when we're saying, I'm going to discern this for myself, that means that we are really checking in with our higher self, our soul self, right? To help us to make a decision in this physicalness. Is this choice for our highest good and best good, right? And asking for that guidance, because at a soul level, we already know. And it's just turning our attention to that and being grounded, being balanced is the best way to do that. When we're in a vulnerable state, sometimes we're not grounded. Sometimes we're not very balanced, right? And so that's why it's good to have those friends around you, whether it's family and friends, soul family, whatever you want to call it, that you have somebody that you can turn to and say, I need help, right? It's not that they can do the work for you, but they can certainly maybe draw a card for you. right? Maybe does something for you. Maybe make some suggestions, or maybe they know somebody that they can refer you to, like a psychologist, right? Somebody that if you're in that bad of way that you can say, I need help with something, and you can reach out for them. And Rochelle says, I wrote a story about a seed and everything it goes through. This was back in the 80s. Still have it. Oh my goodness, Rochelle. Wow. If you feel like sharing it, I would love to read it. That is so cool. And Julie says, oh, thank you, my dear. Of course. Of course. And the thing is Julie and I have been there for each other, right? When she needs help, she taps me on the shoulder. When I need help, I tap her on the shoulder. And so, yeah. Brad saying, hi, Brad. Good to have you here. Tabitha saying, being a counselor, I have to be very careful with my energy field. Yes, absolutely. Right. Tabitha, when you're a counselor and you're working with other people, they're assessing, discerning whether or not you are a good fit for them. And Tabitha, as a counselor, you're doing the same thing, right? Is this in the highest good that I assist this person? Because sometimes it's not. Many times it is. But there are those times when it's not a good match. And to be able to gracefully say, I know somebody that can be much better help in this situation for you, and you can refer them to someone else, right? And as a counselor, I'm sure, I don't know how many people you do in person or whether you're doing all kind of Zoom calls, and even if you're doing Zoom, we still have to do the clearing, right? After you've been through a session with someone, is to be able to clear yourself and clear your space so that the residual energy of whatever that was is taken care of, right? Yeah. Good one, Tabitha. Actually, that's probably a really good topic for another show at some time, I think. And Brad's saying, Dr. Fred Bell made copper pyramids connected to the Tesla coils and crystal on top. Yes. Yeah. Do you remember what year that was, Fred? I mean, Brad, when Dr. Fred Bell did that? Because I'm sure that now you're going to pique a lot of people's interest. And so maybe they'll want to take a look at that. Hey, Deanna, you're here. Yay. Yay. Yeah, Star Nations. Actually, Brad, what I was thinking about the other day, and this came through in a meditation, is that at some point, I can't tell you when, but at some point, I'm going to do the explanation again about Star Nations and how we got the name for this organization and what it means for us. Okay. And yeah, we're going to do that. I can't tell you when though, because I've got a lineup of topics that are coming up. And yeah, but we'll get it done. And Julie's saying, absolutely, we're there for each other. Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes we just talk just to chat and to laugh. Okay. So cards. Now, if you're doing your own card reading, when you're feeling better and you're feeling balanced and you're grounded, right? You can do your own card readings. There's nothing wrong with that. And I know, looking at the names in the chat, there are lots of people in this on the show in the chat room who do their own card readings. They're doing their own card draws. And here at Star Nations, for a while there, we had a few shows that were doing card draws for people. I don't know if that's ever going to continue or not. It might. I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know yet. All right, so I just wanted to share with you a couple of things. First of all, before I forget, oops, wrong one. I wanted to give you that link. I got too many windows open. Okay. And Julie Hedges, if you could put your contact information in the comments, in case somebody wants to do a tarot reading with you or astrology, soul empowerment reading with you, that would really be grand if you could do that. And I wanted to share with you, let's see, where did I put that? I wanted to share with you Jane International, her YouTube website. Here it is. Well, first of all, I'm going to share with you the Star Nation's YouTube link, because you know what? We have so many shows about this kind of topic. I know Julie did lots of shows about the tarot. She's written a lot of articles about the tarot and has a book about the tarot. And so I thought maybe you guys would like to do a little archive dive. And so this is the link, and it'll be coming up soon. As soon as it hits, it's a little bit of a delay. This is the link to the YouTube for Star Nation's channel, and so you can click the playlist button, and the different playlists, the different shows that we have, the shows archived for the last 3 years, I think. Those are there, and so you can select which shows you wanted to take a dive in and see what they have about card divination, about being grounded. Those kinds of things will be really helpful. And here is Jane's YouTube channel. And Julie, this is the lady that I was telling you about some time ago, about how the camera angles. Because I was thinking, God, you could do this. This would be so easy for you to do. Something similar to it, right? But that was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But so here is Jane's information. And check her out, see if she resonates with you. If she doesn't, that's okay. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings at all. But just check her out, and you can see what she has to say about you in a general sense. Hey, Cindy's in the house. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Julie does a great reading. Yep, I think you should, Brad. Thank you for saying that. Okay. Now, see, I lost track. Got to get back on track. It's so easy to get sidetracked. So using card divination as a tool in your recalibration journey, you're reinventing yourself, reimagining yourself, can be so helpful. Because when we're on this kind of journey, many times we want it to go faster than maybe we're ready for. And when we do that, sometimes what happens is we get confused. We try to rush something. It's like, well, I thought that was supposed to happen. So when you get a card reading from somebody, sometimes what they can do is they can help you to understand where you're at in the process. So for so long, I was sitting in the quiet, in the stillness. My meditations were literally just being still in a dark room. That was it. I wasn't asking any questions. I wasn't looking for any clarification for anything. I was just in the stillness, sitting there with my spiritual team in the quiet. And it's been probably, I don't know, 3-4 weeks now, maybe a little bit longer, where tidbits of information get brought in for me to consider, right? Like the very first show I think I did on in this series, my team had asked me to consider this, and I repeated almost every show now, and I offer this to you, is to consider this. Consider what it would be like if you believed that your soul was on the outside of you, and that was the first impression that you give others, is your soul first, and then your personality, right? Yeah. And it is. It's a shift in consciousness. It's a shift in consciousness. And they had instructed me that, I was to practice this on a daily basis, several times a day. Just take a moment, imagine what it would be like. Looking in the mirror at yourself and saying, I am my soul. And the first time I did it, it was like I made eye contact, but it was like, the tone in the voice wasn't believable, And I'm getting there though. I'm getting there. And to look in the mirror and say, I am my soul, and mean it and feel it. And so this recalibration journey is all about finding out who you are right now, not who you were a year ago or 5 years ago, because we've all changed so much. The world has changed so much. Is that who are you now? Right now? Are you closer to who and what you were meant to be here? So many of us here at Star Nations, we have done a ton load of healing, right? Because we're always talking about healing your emotional and mental traumas, healing them, doing whatever it takes to heal that. Go to whoever you need to assist you in healing your traumas, so that you can get closer and closer and closer to your original vibration, your original frequency that you came in with. And yeah, that's what this is all about, right? This is what this is all about. All right. So, Brad, what are you saying? She said, Neshi, do you have a printed Star Nations magazine? Yes, we do. We have, it's print on demand. It's also digital for phone and tablet, and we have it in PDF, and also web viewer. And so right now we're kind of on a pause. The last issue that we did was the March issue. We'll probably be on pause until at least through the summer. But we have 7 years of back issues. So there's a lot of good articles in those. That's what I meant about doing the archive dive, right? Because there's lots of information there. Oh, yes, I do. I do. It feels so good to be in the stillness. The Onondaga, it's another tribal nation here in the United States on the East Coast. They're part of the Iroquois Nation. The Haudenosaunee is what they call themselves. The Onondaga, they have, in their language, it's called going into the quiet. Going into the quiet. I like it. All right. Thank you, Brad. Cindy says, we are in the year of 5 freedom, change, and adventure. So that is a truth, isn't it? The year of freedom, change, and adventure. That's a fact. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you a couple of the card decks that I really, really like to use a lot, and have for since 2005, I think. Something like that. Maybe it was 2003. Anyway, it's been a long time. I was going to bring them into the show with me, and I realized they're up at the physical building of the Academy, and that is Jamie Sam's cards. And I think, Julie, you had made a post or something like that about Jamie Sam's, a quote from her. Jamie Sam's, her divination cards. There's 2 decks that I really like of Jamie Sam's. That's the medicine card deck, and also the Sacred Path deck. Those are one of my 2 favorites, my first go-tos that I use. And then I have other favorites, of course. Okay, here's a question for you guys out there in the live chat: is how many decks of divination cards do you have? Both divination and tarot. They're kind of like stones and crystals. People tend to buy more than one. you know, and we're sharing with each other, what our favorite decks are. And I get gifted decks quite often. There's another deck, what was it called? Um, oh gosh. I can't remember the name of the deck. But anyway, I've got two other ones with me. Only because they happen to be here down at the house with me. This is another deck that I started using a couple years ago, and that is Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards by Kyle Gray. Yep. And copyright on this should be like 2018 or 2019. 2018 is the copyright. Yeah. I remember when I bought this deck, it was off from Amazon.com. Okay. There's one. These are recent card decks. Okay. And you guys, this one. Sacred Spirit Reading Cards by Anna Stark. I like this one too. Those are good. And I got a brand new one. Gifted to me. Yeah. By Karen Bloomer. And this one is Earth Warriors Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild. Now, I haven't used this one yet, but I like the feel of it. And to get a little bit closer here. Kind of cool, isn't it? I know. But, yeah. I like being able to draw a card or, a card spread, right? To be able to get another perspective of a situation or an event. And I have to say, and you guys might disagree with me, is that to ask a more specific question. If you want a more specific answer, to ask a more specific question. Sometimes when we ask the question, what does Spirit have to say to me today? Which is good. I'm not saying it's bad. We get a more general reply, right? But if we can kind of focus in on something specific, Spirit can actually give us more specific answers. Yeah. Just a little something. All right. I gotta roll up here. Here we go. Wait, I gotta scroll up. Oh my gosh, I'm really far behind. All right, so Rochelle says, I have had some challenges lately. I got to the point of yelling out loud and said, what the hell is wrong with this world? And I yelled, it's hard and hard to be a human. Had to pause from what I just yelled. Yeah. And and the frustration is there for sure. For sure. And especially when we're really taking a look on what's happening out there, right? The craziness that's going on out there. And I know that we are striving to have balance even when all of that is going on, right? And I think it's human. It's okay to say, I've had it today. That's just craziness, or that made me angry. The worst thing we can do is suppress it and repress it. But we also have to be able to express ourselves in a good way, in a healthy way, right? And as long as you're not yelling at anybody specific, right in their face, there's nothing wrong with getting it out, right? And still holding the axiom, because it's true, is to do no harm, right? To do no harm to others or yourself. And so in the expression, I say, Rochelle, go ahead. It's better than holding it in. And Julie says, yeah, I shared Jamie Sams last night, the Sacred Path cards. Oh, I saw the quote and I saw Jamie Sams. I didn't know it came from the Sacred Path cards, but yeah, it's a good one. And Brad's saying three decks. All right, Brad. See, you have more than one. And Julie's saying, my 2 card decks last night were the Shawl and the Vision Quest. Oh, so see, there you go. Good one. And Cindy says she's got 11. Didn't I say they're kind of like stones and crystals? You can't just have one. Tabitha's saying, a lot of decks, more than 20. Told you. Oh, gosh. Oh. Oh, Julie's saying, I probably have 200, and that's not a very big after a very big purge. I know. Rob is saying, including iOS apps, several, though I'm partial to the I Ching. That's another good one. Ancient I Ching. Yeah. Tabitha says, love the Angels and Ancestors deck too. I tell you what, it's one of my favorite decks. Okay. And Brad is saying, Lucy Lavendish has a nice Goddess Oracle deck. Oh, we're going to have to check that one out. Rob says, you use the full deck Oracle pack. It was hard to get on this planet. Yeah. And Alana Fairchild has great cards. I love her Isis Oracle. Ooh, Isis Oracle. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there. But, there again, right, we have to use our intuition and discern, which ones are meant for us, right? And Cindy is saying, you were reading the medicine cards when I started watching you. Yeah. There's a part of me that misses those weekly. I think it was like Wednesday mornings, Tuesday mornings. I don't remember. Wednesday. Yeah, I used to do a weekly live stream in the mornings, and did a card draw for the group for the week. Usually one card, but sometimes it was like 3. Yeah, that was a good show. Yeah. Julie's saying, I like Lucy Cavendish products too, Brad. Yeah, good one. Cindy says the spirit crystals, Colette Baron Reed. That is a good one. I like that one too. I haven't used that one in a long time, but I do like it. Like her videos. Yeah, she's got a lot of them too. And Tabitha is saying, Nature Whispers by Angela Hartfield and Josephine Wall is one of my favorites. Love the pictures. See, I just love this. Because we're all gonna go out. Oh, I like that one. I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, I did. I started out in the afternoons, didn't I? No, I moved to the afternoons. It used to be in the mornings. And we moved to the afternoons. Do you remember that, Rochelle? Do you remember why I moved it to the afternoons from the morning? It's because Mom needed me more for longer in the mornings than what she used to. And so I was always so pressed for trying to cram so much of stuff in the morning to make sure she got what she needed, and for me to be able to start the live stream at 10 a.m. Yeah, it was stressful. It was very stressful. And so that's why I moved it to the afternoons. Yeah. There's a memory for me, huh? Julie saying, Neshi, what do you do when you realize that a deck no longer resonates with you? Oh, that's a good question. Good question, Julie, because I have gifted card decks to other people because, I get the impression, or I get the intuitive, right, that they might enjoy that deck, or that it could be helpful. And what I do is I clear the deck from my energy, and I let it, smudging, or, those kinds of things. And I put it in a gift and with a nice card, and I either give it to them or I send it to them. That's one way. The second way is that if the cards are telling you they want to be retired, okay, in other words, they're done, you can bless them, clear them, bless them, and you can either do a sacred fire with them, or you can return them to Grandmother Earth by burying them. Okay. Yeah. And if they're laminated, yay. Okay. So you might have to do a ceremony with a shredder kind of thing, because you don't want to burn the plastic, and if you bury them, the plastic's not going to biodegrade. So you may have to do a bit of shredding, but you can make it very meaningful, right? And thanking them, thanking the cards and the creator of those cards, that deck, for everything that it brought into your life, to be grateful and appreciative, right? And then do what you need to do with them. Yeah. And it's okay to even just ask and sleep on it, you know? Yeah. That's a good question, Julie. Deanna says Archetypal Reiki by Dorothy May is one of my favorites. Well, I've never seen that one. Of course, I never saw the Osho Zen tarot deck either, and that is so pretty. And Julie is saying, I have quite a few decks. I'm working with a Goddess Oracle and a Moonology deck. A Moonology deck. That sounds interesting because, right now, wait till next week. We're going to be talking all about the moon and your astrological moon sign next week. Guess who? I am going to have a guest next week called Julie Hedges. She's going to be on with me next week. Your card draw was on Wednesday afternoons. Yes, thank you, Julie. Yeah, I actually kind of miss it. I do. Cindy says, I have 2 dragon decks now. Ooh, very powerful dragon energy. Dragon medicine. Rochelle says, because of your mom needed you was 11 a.m. Yeah, that was Eastern time. Right. And Cindy says, I'm learning the original Rider-Waite deck. Oh, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, the tarot and astrology are great tools, and I tap the shoulders of a few people who know, and it's one of their allies, right? And an ally is like a good friend, and they work really well together. Tarot and astrology is not one of my allies. I can never keep the glyphs straight in my head, who belongs to who and what house. And with the tarot, with the Rider-Waite deck, there's so much in there that really is about your intuition, I think. But yeah, there's a lot of history with it too, in the anthology of it. Yeah, good for you, Cindy. Good for you. And Rob is saying the Fawn Hall blessing ritual. The Fawn Hall blessing ritual. Expand on that, would you, Rob? Angel cards, of course. The tried and true, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the time, and I wanted to share a couple of other things with you guys before we say goodnight. And yeah, so my suggestion is that when you're a seed, and when you are going through your recalibration journey, and you're that seed, and your shell of the seed has been cracked open, and you're starting to sprout, and you find yourself in that vulnerable state, is to turn toward those people in your life that you can ask for support, because they'll do it for you. They will. And so, as that sprout, what we're primary intention is to reach for the light, right? Is to grow toward the light. And so when we have assistance like that, we can put all of our focus, all of our energy on doing that, because we have somebody supporting us and helping us to gain clarity and understanding, right? To take in the information so we can sit with it and feel our way through it and how it can be helpful to us. And it might just even be one part that might be meant for us, right? So that's my suggestion, is to start nurturing those relationships, because, yeah, we all need each other, right? Okay. Now, Okay, here's Rob. I knew it was something. Rob says Fawn Hall was the secretary of Oliver North, who accidentally shredded everything before going. Yes. Okay, so the name was like right back here. It's like, I know that name. I know that name. Oliver North. We just started watching an old television series called The Americans, and it's kind of based on some of Oliver North's stuff. And so, yeah, thank you for that, Rob. Wait till I tell Paul. And Brad is saying, check out the book, The Star People by Brad and Francis Steiger. Yeah, I think I have that book. It's right back here if I do. Okay, so I was going to show you a couple things. Is I think because Brad mentioned something, I was going to make sure I left this in the chat too. Okay, the past issues for Star Nations magazine. Got to spell correctly. Spelling counts. All right, so I'm going to be giving you the link to our partners at MagCloud, and they happen to be where we have most of the past issues. I think they start like in, I want to say 2014. I think they do. Like July of 2014. There were some past issues that were only at Apple, which we still have to try to do something with to retrieve them out of Apple. But at MagCloud, you can get it in print, you can get it in PDF, you can get it in digital and web viewer. Okay. Those are all the past issues. If you want current issues for like 2019 through March of 2021, you can go to issue.com. And do I have that? I might not have that link with me right now. Darn it. Okay, but the MagCloud one will get you where you need to go, okay, for what you need. All right. And the other thing that I wanted to show you and tell you about is I have 2 classes that were postponed or rescheduled because of either my mom or because of COVID. And so these are 2 classes. Wait, let me get rid of the branding. That we've rescheduled, and that's going to happen this June. Okay, that's going to happen this June. And the first one is the drum making workshop on Saturday, June 12th, 2021. It was supposed to be in Michigan, but we had to move it. It's going to be here in Wisconsin at the physical Star Nations Academy. And it's going to be a very small class. Okay. We're going to have 6 people. We have room for 3 more people in this class. And yeah, so Saturday, June 12th, here in Toma at Star Nations Academy. We're going to be making you can make either elk or buffalo. And the registration is at the Academy. And all of this is going to appear on our website by Friday. Okay. So here is for the Star Nations Academy. I got to see if it says. Let's see. It won't let me do that. And for those people who are already registered for the drum making class, I'm going to be sending you an email with more information and that sort of thing. Okay. And so that is the first class. This class was supposed to happen in 2019. And then, yeah. And then the rest of the story. All right. So that's the first one. And the next one is, I think I'm going to have to put that one on solo. Hang on. So you can see it better. So it's not so scrunched. Okay, so this one is called The Journey of Remembering. It was an online class. I'm turning it into an in-person class. The two people who started the class with me online are going to be here with us in person. We're going to be doing this class June 17th through the 20th. That's a Thursday through a Sunday. It's a 4-day class. This is all about remembering how to create with your heart, with joy. And the very first thing that you're going to create out of the class before you go home is your organic Merkaba. This is a class that's based on the teachings of Drenville Melchizedek, one of my teachers. I was one of his teachers